Hi, intrepid viewers. Lena coming to you from tomorrow. One of my party tricks. Yes, it is Tuesday in Australia. Summer has arrived, but my heart goes out to those of you who are in deep winter. It's fine if you love the snow and you're equipped for it and it's beautiful, but I hope you all stay safe. Very cold. But we've got reason to celebrate. The Yeti recommended to go forward for criminal indictment. Well, there you go. The tequila shots are on me. Oh, wow. It's been a long time coming. So we have to have a look at that. But we've also got Puerto Rico. We've got so much to look at. So I think one more digression before I even start. Apparently, 4 others have been named to be referred to the House Ethics Committee, and they are Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan, Scott Perry, and Andy Biggs. So I don't know anything more about that, but let's just go in at the deep end. This, of course, is Merrick Garland. How strong and committed is Merrick Garland? What's going to happen with the Yeti now? Will he be properly criminally indicted? This is a recommendation. The House Committee can only recommend. So will this transfer at this late stage in the game to criminal indictments? Oh, please. All right. One World Tarot coming to you. All right. Okay. Let's process this. At this stage, with the High Priestess here, then we know they're not short of documents. They're not short of evidence. But I think they've got even more. See the scroll. I think they've got even more than we dreamt, because the mortal human brain can't really absorb the breadth of this corruption. It's been said over 1 million documents. So I think although they've been waiting for this report and processing, I think what we still don't know about is still the juiciest bit, is what I'm trying to say there. Of course, we're celebrating, at least they got it this far, and let us hope that the DOJ and Merrick Garland can take it from here. And we will see, because they are still waiting for their ship to come in. I think they were waiting for the committee to finish its work, but they weren't doing nothing during that time. I think they were working during that time because this guy has put out the energy, made the plans, and is now waiting for his ship to come in. So surely, Merrick Garland is not surprised or ambushed in any way by this. This should be where you let loose your range of prosecutors, Merrick. Are you listening? And let them do their business. Right. Okay. The immediate past, the Page of Pentacles, I think they were trying to secure some last-minute information about money that they now either have got or are on the brink of getting. This could also be the tax returns or the role of the tax returns, because surely the DOJ would already have the Yeti's little bodgy, dodgy tax returns. But that's my vibe when I picked up this card on top of everything else. Outcome. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. 8 booms. Okay. So I'd like to think that there are probably sort of, 6 or 8 strands of this. And let's hope he can clone Jack Smith and get cracking. One would hope. One would hope. We've got to have faith. All right. Now, let's have a quick look here. Oh, I woke up this morning thinking about Crimea. This isn't something that happens to me every day, I have to say. So just stay alert. I think there's going to be something significant happening in Crimea that is going to shift what's going on between Ukraine and Russia. There's something about Crimea. So if you hear something before I do, let me know. Now, in my last video, I put the word out to any viewers who knew what is the Russian phrase for Russian mafia. And thank you, the viewer, the Russian-speaking viewer, who said, it's Russkaya mafia. But what's usually talked about is not that, it's bratva. The bratva is the brotherhood. Now, as soon as I saw that comment, I had a flash on Giuliani. Because if you remember back when Giuliani allegedly cleaned up, well, he didn't allegedly, he did clean up New York, but at a price. I'm very glad I saw the old messy New York. But it was out of control, didn't need cleaning up. But the word was, at the time and for 10 years afterwards, he used the bratva to actually put the kibosh on the Italian traditional mafia, if you like. And so Rudy's involvement with Russia goes way back to then. So I'd like to look at that now. If I'm getting dreams about it and flashes, I think we should have a look. Giuliani is about to lose his law license, or you'd think so. Look. And his mother and a parrot would think he should keep it. Look, surely they won't let him keep it. Anyway, Giuliani's looking at that, but something about Russia and Giuliani. What are we missing? There's a missing link. Okay. The wedding card, the card of partnerships and so forth. So it's definitely a real thing, right? The traditional mafia had a stranglehold, you could say, entertainment purposes only on New York. So it took a very strong connection on Giuliani's part. Interesting as an Italian American. His role is particularly weird. They got what they wanted, they got what they were paid to do, and now they are holding a lot of the trump cards. Giuliani, I think, realised a bit too late that he'd unleashed some forces here. I think he thought, I'm the mayor of New York, you do this for me, I'm going to look really good, and then you can go back home. Except they didn't, did they? No. Okay. And he unleashed the beast, and then he was tied to them. Tied to them. The Hierophant, government law and order, etc., is looking at this. The Hermit, the light will be shone on this, and I think quite a bit of money changed hands over a long period of time. I think Giuliani is actually in more trouble than I'd thought recently. He'll probably pull the Gaga card And he wouldn't have to do much acting, I think, to come across as someone with mental health addictions and syndromes, and an alcohol addiction, if we want to talk about addictions. So I think Giuliani is in trouble, and we're going to hear about it very, very soon. Now, while I'm shuffling, Madison Cawthorn, remember, he was the one who said, he went public saying other GOP people in high places had invited him to sex parties and they took drugs. And he was shocked, viewers, that this should happen. And then the photos were released of him in women's underwear partying up a storm and chug-a-lugging. Loved it. Do you remember those photos? Hunt them down. They are gold. Yeah, love them. Okay. Now, why am I talking about him? Oh, his lawyers, Madison Cawthorn's lawyers, are suing him for unpaid legal fees of $198,000. You're in trouble when your lawyers are suing you. I think that's a sign things aren't going swimmingly. Don't you think? Okay, so that's him. Now, just a second, let me catch up with my own notes here. Speaking of horrible people, Alex Jones. And so a judge just yesterday, I think a Houston judge, said, no, Mr. Jones, you can't hide behind bankruptcy. So that judge has done whatever the legal word is, lifted the stay or something, that he has to actually pay the parents money, actual money, as opposed to pretending to be poor. These people are disgusting. Now, Alex Jones, as my old dad used to say, you'll have a very small funeral. When people are mean, you find out. Very small funeral. Okay. So let's have a look at Puerto Rico. And Argentina won. Argentina. Blessings. So if I'm looking a bit jaded, it's because I've been getting up at 2 a.m. But it was so thrilling and it's so major and it's just fantastic. All right, now Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rican viewers, please let me know in the comments. I understand there's sort of 3 options of being a sovereign state and breaking off from America, or being a sovereign state and staying closely allied, or the option on the table to become an additional state. Now, I'm not going to read on the fine print of that. I just want to find the energy around the issue. Excuse me, because the problem when these things, huge things, have to be decided anywhere, there's always, whether it's Scottish independence or Brexit or whatever, there's always massive misinformation. So I'm hoping Puerto Rico can make a good decision that helps the majority of Puerto Ricans. But you guys can let me know. I'm just going to pull the cards for the vibe around this because it is historic, absolutely historic. So hopefully when the Senate reconvenes, Biden will deal with the Dreamers too, because they've been left in the lurch because of the circus. But now, Puerto Rico. What's coming up for Puerto Rico? All right. Well, these cards get better as they go along. So let me break this down for you, intrepid viewers. Knight of Cups, this is hugely emotional. It's an offer that's been made and it's massively emotional for people. It's been a long time coming, you know. I can remember being in the US in 1979 and Puerto Rican activists and El Salvadorian activists were given huge jail sentences just for speaking their truth. So this has been a long time coming. Death, but in a good way. This is, okay, you need something to pass so something new can be born. Right. So the setting sun allowing the sun to rise on a new day. Now, there is a 10 of Wands, which is the burden card. So I don't think that that's altogether a bad thing. What you don't want in this very rare historic crossroads is to just make a really quick decision. It should be real consultation with all the different social classes and groups, which could be burdensome to those in control, but it's necessary to ensure there is a good life and not just a new kleptocracy of oligarchs just moving in, making a fortune and leaving everyone else on the side of the road. It's really important. I think the burden itself represents responsibility for doing this properly and carefully and well. And I think the advocacy, we just had this card in another context, will be going on for some time. I'm not sure of the time frame that's being talked about, but I think this is representing, in this case, the youth of Puerto Rico. So what do the 40s and under, or 45 and unders, want and need? What would really bring the country forward? I'm sure it's had a brain drain, like so many other places, to the US to make it attractive so people will take their skills back. And it's a marvelous country. And so I think people are prepared to fight for it. But I don't think it's totally clear yet which group will prevail. So please keep me posted on this, everyone. Okay. Oh, it's amazing that it's even got this far. It's a bit like lifting the embargoes on Cuba and stuff. These things take so many years. Now, in other good news, Elon Musk is drowning in court cases all of a sudden. And he took a poll himself amongst Twitter users, should he resign? And 59% said yes. So that has to be food for thought. The hypocrisy of Elon Musk, is ratcheting up. Remember, just a week or so ago, he took to suing someone who was tracking his jet. It's a threat. It's a threat to me and my family. And yet he lets these anti-Semites and white supremacists loose on the channel. That's a threat to people who are Jewish or people of colour. Doesn't make the connection, doesn't join the dots. Shame on you. Shame, Elon Musk. Okay, so now, just a second. Something else. Oh, excuse me. SCOTUS. We're going to have an early look at the case, which is called 303 Creative versus Eleni. I read my news, so I don't know the proper pronunciation, if it's Eleni or Eleni. And basically, it's that thing, can people who offer goods and services refuse to give their goods or services to people of the LGBTQIA plus community or not? So this is code for, can right-wing Christian fundamentalists assert their power? Right, that's what it's really about. Let's not dress it up, Now, it's a very serious problem over and above who's going to make this wedding cake or who's going to take the photos. It has implications because if you can put up signage to say we will not do this, it's like the old signs, no blacks allowed, which we had in Australia in country pubs and things through the 60s, even into the 70s. Then they were made to take the signs down, but the culture didn't change. The policies were the same. You know, Australia does not have a pretty history. So please, intrepid viewers, do not think for 1 minute I'm always saying, isn't America a nutcase of a country? We are very bad on the subject of immigration, scandalously bad. And the treatment of Indigenous people is shocking. And really, we've improved this much, but not enough. You know. All right, so I'm going to have a look at this case, 303 Creative Person. Now, the world could change. I think it's going to be heard in the summer next year, which, as we know, is, a long way away. So when the Senate, the new Senate gets in, hopefully, does that mean Biden and the others can get more Supreme Court judges in? They don't need the House, do they? They just go to the Senate. I can't remember. Can people let me know? So it might be a whole new world by then, but I'm going to have a look now at the atmosphere and the energy around this terrible 1950s mentality. Like, what do you think is going to happen if you make a wedding cake for a gay couple? I mean, really? Are you going to be struck down? What do these people think? Oh, they're so flat earth. Oh. All right. 303 Creative versus Olympus. What's the vibe on this? Let's have a look. Quite a few of you asked for this. Empress. Well, look, I have to say, the Seven of Wands is the card du jour. It's come out in every reading. There must be something about this card that wants to be heard. Okay, the signifier, the Empress. Now, the Empress is quite bountiful. She looks after things. She's pregnant and she looks after people. There's the wheat, the river flowing. She wants her people to be happy. If you like, this is another aspect of the Statue of Liberty. This is more the Earth Mother type. Statue of Liberty is the ideological, bring me your huddled masses. We won't talk about the border, frankly, because it's too upsetting. But really, they should make posters of the Statue of Liberty and put it around all the southern states, really, with the whole pledge. Anyway, I digress, as I do. So I quite like this energy over the reading potentially, but there's a long way to go. People's hands are tied. Now, whose hands are tied? Does that mean that the hairdressers who don't want to do gay hair or whatever, their hands are tied because America actually doesn't allow this sort of discrimination? Or are free peoples having their hands tied because of the flat earthers? Whose hands are tied? Food for thought. I guess in a way, this question or this spread is about that, because one way or the other, someone's hands are going to be tied. If the fundamentalists win, and we should stop calling them Christians and just call them fundamentalists, because they're nothing to do with real Christianity, which is about caring and inclusivity and tolerance and hospitality of the stranger and the hungry. So shut up, Lena, and talk about the cards. So somebody's hands are going to be tied whichever way this judgment falls. The King of Swords in time will make this judgment. But look at these cards: swords, swords, swords. So there's going to be a lot of fighting about this issue, right? So the King of Swords, in a way, represents the big guns. They'll make a ruling one way or the other. This, I think, is a challenge to that ruling. And this, I think, is further out in the outcome, which again is young people. Young people, whether it's Alabama, Tennessee, or Georgia, or whatever, let us pray. Because they're part of youth culture generally. Yes, they can sit in their bedrooms and basements and polish their guns and follow the far right, or just as many are thinking, I feel different from other people around me and I want things to be different, and are looking for support to be their authentic selves, right? So I think young people here are really going to be engaged in this conversation as it gets closer to the time. Oh, my word. Now, a couple of bits of housekeeping. If you want a reading, please get in touch. I'm working right through. Having said that, Hogarth, Lady G, and I, who have our regular slot on Saturday night, 7 p.m. New York time, won't be there next week because it's Christmas for me, Christmas Eve for you. We'll be back the following week. But other than that, I'm working right through. And I'm perfectly, perfectly happy. I love meeting you guys. And that's my favorite way of doing it. So if you want a reading, you email me, and that's underneath every video. And then I send you the notes back saying what to expect and the scale of fees and all of that stuff. And away we go. So you can have general readings or a past life reading or both. So look, guys, love you. I'll be back. What day is it here? Tuesday. I'll be back before Christmas. And in the meantime, happy Hanukkah. Happy everything that's positive. Embrace the Yuletide. And let's just all get together and share the love. Okay, guys. Bye.